Have you ever wished you could just stop feeling? To become someone unshakable, a fortress of a person, immune to the careless arrows of criticism, the cold sting of rejection, the bitter poison of betrayal. Have you ever laid awake at night, dreaming of a day when you will finally silence that constant, low hum of anguish that eats you up inside, even as you wear a perfectly composed smile for the world? Maybe you're just tired. A soul-deep exhaustion from the relentless performance, the endless effort of maintaining an image of strength you don't feel. The constant pressure of having to be okay. You long for the quiet power of being untouchable. But let me tell you something no one has the courage to say. A truth that feels like a betrayal in itself. As long as you try to avoid pain, it will own you. As long as you numb yourself, protect yourself, and hide in the fortress you've built, you will remain a hostage within its walls. A hostage to every word that hurts, every action that disappoints, every silence that feels like a judgment. And I want you to hear this clearly. This is not a weakness. This is the silent, shared reality for most people on this planet. The only difference is that some have become masters of illusion. They pretend better than others. If you have made it this far into the darkness with me, it is not by chance. This video is for you, the one who is tired of hurting, the one who carries an invisible weight, who feels they are always at an emotional disadvantage, as if other people possess a secret power, a hidden shield that you are never given. I am here to show you that this shield exists, and it is within your reach. But to forge it, you will have to walk into the very fire you have spent your life running from. You will face truths that may hurt, but I promise you, for the first time, this pain will set you free. You believe the source of your suffering is out there, in the external world, in the actions of others, in the poorly chosen words, in the abandonments and betrayals you have endured. You see yourself as a victim of circumstance, wounded by a world that is careless and cruel. But the Stoics, the great masters of the human mind, knew a devastating and liberating secret. Nothing outside of you has the inherent power to hurt you. It is granted that power by you. An external event can only wound you if an inner wound already exists for it to strike. What truly hurts you is not what others do to you. It is what their actions activate within you. It is the story you tell yourself about what their behavior means about you. It is the old trauma, the ghost from your past that has never been laid to rest. It is the cavernous emptiness you disguise with a frantic need to seem well-adjusted, successful, and whole. The great psychologist Carl Jung showed us that the pain we feel in the face of the external world is merely a reflection, an echo of what has not yet been integrated into our internal world. This is the fundamental reason why some people can walk through the inferno of devastating situations and still maintain their clarity, while others crumble in the face of a simple, careless comment. It is never about what happens. It is always about where it hits. And here comes the most uncomfortable truth of all. You continue to suffer so intensely because, on some deep, unconscious level, you still believe you can control how the world should treat you. You are still trying to be good enough, smart enough, strong enough, understanding enough, ... As if a perfect performance will guarantee you a life without pain. But this desire for control is an illusion, and a cruel one at that. As long as you cling to it, you will live in a state of constant, exhausting tension. You will be forever trying to predict the unpredictable, to avoid the inevitable. Your life becomes a strategic game of defense, a game you can never win. Do you want to stop suffering? Then you must stop protecting yourself from it. What you need is not more control over the world, but more awareness of yourself. This is the territory we will now explore. Get ready to dive one level deeper, because that is where true, lasting transformation begins. The Stoics were not emotionless statues. They were emotional alchemists. They understood that pain was inevitable, but suffering was a choice. They didn't suppress pain. They transformed it into wisdom, resilience, and fuel. Here are the 4 steps of the Stoic mindset that will allow you to do the same. The pause, the sacred space between stimulus and response. When something hurts you, an insult, a disappointment, your first instinct is a flash of uncontrolled, automatic reaction. It's a biological reflex. The Stoics taught the art of inserting a deliberate space in that moment. Before you react, before you label the event as bad or unfair, you simply pause. You breathe. You observe the initial wave of emotion without becoming it. In that tiny, infinite gap of silence, you reclaim your power. You sever the puppet strings. You realize that the event itself is neutral, just a fact. It is your immediate, unexamined judgment about it that unleashes the torrent of suffering. This pause is your first line of defense, and with practice, it becomes impenetrable. Build your inner citadel. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, in his private meditations, wrote constantly about his inner citadel, a fortress within his own mind that no external army, no political betrayal, no amount of chaos could ever breach. Your inner citadel is not made of stone, but of reason and principle. It is built from the only things in the universe you have absolute control over: your thoughts, your judgments, and your choices. The words of others are just sounds in the air. They cannot enter your citadel unless you, the gatekeeper, grant them permission. The actions of others are just movements in space. They cannot wound you unless you decide they have. You must start seeing your mind as a sacred, sovereign space. Most people leave their gates wide open, allowing any passing opinion or event to ransack their peace. You must learn to stand guard and close them. Amor fati, a love of your fate. This is the most radical and powerful alchemical step. The Stoics taught not just to tolerate what happened to them, but to learn to love it, to embrace it as if they had chosen it themselves. They believed that every obstacle, every setback, every pain is a disguised opportunity for growth. The betrayal that broke your heart? It was a harsh but necessary lesson in self-reliance and the importance of choosing your company wisely. The criticism that wounded your ego? It was a chance to build true internal confidence, one that is independent of praise or blame. When you learn to see every event, especially the painful ones, as a necessary and even desirable part of your unique journey, they lose their power to harm you. You don't just survive them. You welcome them as fuel for your fire. The view from above. When you are consumed by a specific pain or anxiety, the Stoics advised practicing what is called the view from above. Zoom out. In your mind's eye, see yourself in your room. Then see your house, your street, your city. Zoom out further to see your country as a patch on the globe. See the earth, a small blue marble hanging in the vast, silent darkness of space. See the immense timeline of human history, the billions of lives lived, the empires risen and fallen into dust. Now, in this grand cosmic scale, is this insult, this loss, this failure, truly the all-consuming catastrophe it feels like right now? This perspective does not invalidate your pain, but it puts it in its proper context. It liberates you from its tyranny and reminds you of the bigger picture. Which of these 4 Stoic tools resonates with you the most? Which one do you need to practice right now? Let me know in the comments. By declaring it, you make a commitment not to me, but to yourself. This is the first step from passive watching to active transformation. Do you begin to see it now? The profound shift? Becoming untouchable has nothing to do with being cold, hard, or indifferent. It has nothing to do with ignoring pain or pretending not to care. That is the path of the fragile, the strategy of the brittle soul that shatters at the slightest touch. True emotional strength, true unshakable power, is about integration. It is the courageous act of bringing to light everything you have desperately tried to bury in the dark. You do not become untouchable by creating a barrier between yourself and the world. You become untouchable when you realize that no one can touch what has already been embraced by you. When you integrate your shadows, your fears, your flaws, your insecurities, when you look them in the eye and say, "I see you, and you are a part of me," you stop being a slave to your reactions. You are no longer an emotional puppet whose strings are pulled by the world. You observe, you choose, you act. And that is the definition of true freedom. Carl Jung called this lifelong process individuation, the journey of becoming who you really are, not what your parents, your teachers, or society expected of you, not the carefully constructed image you thought you needed to be accepted, but the whole, authentic person that emerges from the sacred meeting of your light and your shadow. The painful irony is this: the more you run from pain, the larger its shadow grows behind you, and the more it chases you. The more you try not to be affected, the more fragile you become. But when you turn and face your own wounds, when you accept who you are with all that is beautiful and ugly, noble and shameful, nothing and no one outside has the power to dismantle you. This path requires immense courage. The courage to look within, the courage to abandon the comfortable masks. But it is precisely in the heart of that pain that the key to your transformation is hidden. Suffering, far from being your enemy, is the gateway to your true strength. It is the messenger of the soul, the alarm of the unconscious, calling you to awaken. You had spent your whole life resisting, and all of this has brought you here, exhausted, tired of fighting a war on two fronts, against the world and against yourself. But now you know the secret. True emotional immunity is not hardness. It is clarity. It is not about building armor. It is about expanding your awareness. When you finally understand your triggers, your patterns, your wounds, the actions of others lose their power to destroy you. You will still feel pain, but you will not drown in it. You may still be hurt, but you will not lose yourself. This is the difference between living on the surface, tossed by every wave, and diving deep. Those who live on the surface are at the mercy of the storm. Those who dive know that there is silence, stability, and immense power down below, and that is where you are headed. The journey you've just witnessed is not just a theory, it is an invitation. An invitation to stop surviving and finally start living. If this video has touched you, if something deep within you has awakened, I want you to make a commitment, a declaration. Write in the comments below, "I choose awareness." Let this be the first day of a new movement, a community of people who no longer want to live by pretending, but by embracing the truth. Subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss it, because real transformation only happens when you keep going. And remember, this is a journey. The next video is an essential part of it. Don't stop at the first step. See you there.